The dead are with us. A lecture given by Rudolf Steiner in Nuremberg, 10th February. In our study of spiritual science, there is a great deal that we cannot, perhaps, directly apply in everyday life, and we may at times feel that it is all rather remote. But the remoteness is only apparent. The knowledge we gain about the secrets of the spiritual world is at every hour, at every moment, of vital and profound significance for our souls. What seems to be remote from us personally is often what the soul inwardly needs. In order to know the physical world, we must make ourselves acquainted with it. But to know the spiritual world, it is essential that we ourselves shall think through and master the thoughts and conceptions imparted by that world. These thoughts then often work quite unconsciously within the soul. Many things may seem to be remote, whereas in reality they are very near indeed to the higher realms of the soul's life. And so again today we will think of the life that takes its course between death and a new birth, the life that seems so far removed from the human being in the physical world. I will begin by simply narrating what is found by spiritual investigation. These things can be understood if sufficient thought is applied to them. Through their own power, they make themselves comprehensible to the soul. Anyone who does not understand them should realize that he has not thought about them deeply enough. They must be investigated by means of spiritual science, but they can be understood through constant study. They will then be confirmed by the facts with which life itself confronts us, provided life is rightly observed. You will have realized from many of the lecture courses that study of the life between death and rebirth is fraught with difficulty, because its conditions are so entirely different from those of the life that can be pictured by the organs of the physical body here in the physical world. We have to become acquainted with utterly different conceptions. When we enter into relationship with the things in our physical environment, we know that only a small proportion of the beings around us in the physical world react to our deeds, to the manifestations of our will, in such a way that pleasure or pain is caused by these deeds of ours. Reaction of this kind takes place in the case of the animal kingdom and the human kingdom. But we are justified in the conviction that the mineral world, including what is contained in air and water, and also largely the world of plants, are insensitive to what we call pleasure or pain as the result of deeds performed by us. Spiritually considered, of course, the matter is a little different, but that need not concern us at this point. In the environment of the dead, all this is changed. Conditions in the environment of the so-called dead are such that everything, including what is done by the dead themselves, causes either pleasure or pain. The dead can do no single thing. They cannot, if I may speak pictorially, move a single limb without pleasure or pain being caused by what is done. We must try to think our way into these conditions of existence. We must assimilate the thought that life between death and a new birth is so constituted that everything we do awakens an echo in the environment. Through the whole period between death and a new birth, we can do nothing. We cannot even move, metaphorically speaking, without causing pleasure or pain in our environment. The mineral kingdom, as we have it around us on the physical plane, does not exist for the dead. Neither does the world of plants. As you can gather from my book, Theosophy, these kingdoms are present in an entirely different form. They are not present in the spiritual world in the form in which we know them here, as realms devoid of feeling. The first kingdom of those familiar to us on the physical plane that has significance for the dead, because it is comparable with what the deceased has in his environment, is the animal kingdom. I do not, of course, mean individual animals as we know them on the physical plane, but the whole environment is such that its effects and influences are as if animals were there. The reaction of the environment is such that pleasure or pain proceeds from what is done. On the physical plane, we stand upon mineral soil. The dead stands upon a soil, lives in an environment which may be compared with the animal nature in this sense. The deceased person, therefore, starts his life 2 kingdoms higher. On the earth, we know the animal kingdom only from outside. The most external activity of the life between death and a new birth consists in acquiring a more and more intimate and exact knowledge of the animal world. For in this life between death and a new birth, we must prepare all those forces which, working in from the cosmos, organize our own body. In the physical world, we know nothing of these forces. Between death and a new birth, we know that our body, down to its smallest particles, is formed out of the cosmos. For we ourselves prepare this physical body, bringing together in it the whole of animal nature. We ourselves build it. To make the picture more exact, we must acquaint ourselves with an idea that is rather remote from contemporary views. Modern man knows quite well that when a magnetic needle lies with one end pointing towards the north and the other towards the south, this is not caused by the needle itself. The Earth as a whole is a cosmic magnet, of which one end points towards the north and the other towards the south. It would be considered sheer nonsense to say that the direction is determined by forces contained in the magnetic needle itself. In the case of a seed, or germinating entity which develops in an animal or in a human being, all the sciences and schools of thought deny the factor of cosmic influence. What would be described as nonsense in the case of the magnetic needle is accepted without further thought in the case of an egg forming inside the hen. But when the egg is forming inside the hen, the whole cosmos is, in fact, participating. What happens on Earth merely provides the stimulus for the operation of cosmic forces. Everything that takes shape in the egg is an imprint of cosmic forces, and the hen herself is only a place, an abode in which the cosmos, the whole universe, is working in this way. And it is the same in the case of the human being. This is a thought with which we must become familiar.